Begin with the end in mind. The business lesson that became my life's mission. The day I walked away with almost nothing. When the buyer finally came for my manufacturing company, I should have been celebrating. 10 years of work, a business I had grown from a shoestring operation into a $10 million enterprise with nearly 200 employees. I had poured everything into that place, my time, my energy, my identity. But when the paperwork was done and the numbers were settled, my share of the sale was significantly reduced. I took a very modest salary over the years to help keep the business profitable. I had no exit structure in place. I had no protections designed to ensure I would be compensated fairly when the time came. After a decade of building something real, I walked away with very little to show for it. That moment changed everything. Not immediately, but eventually, it became the reason I spent the next 23 years helping small business owners avoid the exact mistakes I made. A labor of love. The manufacturing business started the way most small businesses do, with a good idea, some hustle, and not nearly enough capital. We scraped together what we had and built it piece by piece. Over 10 years, it grew into something I was genuinely proud of. North of $10 million in annual revenue, around 200 employees, a real operation. I loved that business. That was part of the problem. When you love what you build, it's easy to confuse passion with planning. I was so focused on running the company, managing operations, controlling costs, growing the client base, that I never stopped to think about what I was building it for. I wasn't putting money away for retirement. I hadn't taken out adequate life insurance on myself. I had no written plan for what would happen if I wanted to leave, or if something happened to me, or if a buyer came along. Financial advisors approached me more than once during those years. I was politely busy. I had a business to run. That was a mistake. The exit that wasn't. Here's what no one tells you when you're deep in the grind of building a business. The structure of your company determines what you walk away with. If you haven't designed your compensation, your equity, and your exit strategy with intention, the numbers at the end will surprise you, and not in a good way. I kept my salary low to benefit the business's bottom line. That seemed responsible at the time. What it actually did was reduce my demonstrable income and the value attributable to my stake. When a buyer arrived, those decisions came back to find me. My share was a fraction of what it should have been. I had started with a great idea and endless energy and assumed that effort would take care of the rest. It doesn't work that way. After the sale, I was retained as a consultant. The new ownership needed what I knew: my expertise, my relationships, my understanding of international markets we hadn't yet developed. That work lasted about 3 years before we parted ways. Then came a period of searching: manufacturers' representative relationships, network marketing, leaning on the database of business contacts I'd spent a decade building. What eventually drew me to financial services was residual income. After years of owning a business where revenue required constant hustle, the idea of building something that generated recurring income from existing relationships was deeply appealing. I got licensed and started working. The wrong advice, and then the right direction. When I joined my first firm, a large insurance company with a brokerage division, the advice I received almost immediately was to work with friends and family. Fast deals, easy conversations. Don't complicate things. I pushed back. My network was business owners. That's who I knew. That's who I could help. And more than anyone, I knew what business owners were going through because I had been one. I had made the mistakes. I knew what it felt like to sit across from an advisor and think, I'll get to that later. They discouraged me from pursuing that path. In retrospect, that was clearly very bad advice. My strength was my experience and my warm market of business contacts. Pointing me away from that slowed my progress instead of accelerating it. Eventually, I found my own way. In 2012, I dropped my securities licensing and committed fully to life and annuity products. I sharpened my focus on small business owners, particularly in manufacturing, fabrication, restaurants, hospitality, multifamily housing, and commercial real estate. My approach is straightforward. I look for tax and expense savings within the business that can be redirected toward personal benefit for the owner. Retirement planning, life insurance, or employee benefits that attract and retain good people. The money is often already there. It's just not working hard enough for the person who built the business.
My business is my retirement. I hear this from small business owners constantly. On the surface, it sounds reasonable. You've worked hard, you've built something, the business is valuable. Of course it's your retirement. But here's the question I always ask. If you walked away for 3 to 6 months, completely stepped away, would your business continue to operate without you? For most small business owners, the honest answer is no. If your business cannot function without your presence, it is not an asset you can sell. It is a job. A very demanding, very personal job that happens to have employees. When you're ready to exit, that distinction will matter enormously. I've helped clients begin to see this, really see it, and then start making changes. I've connected them with business coaches and exit strategists who help build the systems and team structures that make a business transferable. On the financial side, I provide the mechanisms that protect what they've built. Key man policies, buy-sell agreements funded by life insurance, non-qualified retirement plans that allow business profits to flow into something that actually belongs to the owner.
The brothers. One of my clients ran a specialty used car dealership with his brother. Their niche was high-end and sport vehicles. BMWs, Mercedes, Lexuses, the kind of cars people buy because they've made it. One brother handled the client-facing side, sales, marketing, relationships. The other had a gift for sourcing. He knew how to find the right cars at the right price. They were a good team. Each needed the other. I helped them set up a buy-sell agreement and funded it with life insurance. They complained about the premium. They did it anyway. Then, the brother who ran the sales side of the business passed away. The surviving brother, the one who found the cars but didn't run the business, was able to exit cleanly. The life insurance funding meant he wasn't trapped in a business he didn't know how to operate, forced to watch it decline, or left with nothing while trying to sell a company that depended entirely on a person who was gone. This isn't a sales story. This is what planning actually looks like when life happens.
GoFundMe is not life insurance. During COVID, 2 GoFundMe campaigns appeared in my Facebook feed. Both were from families of business owners I knew, people I had sat down with, talked to about their coverage, their plans, their needs. Both had told me everything was handled. They were fine. They didn't need anything. They did. GoFundMe is a generous platform. Strangers giving what they can to families in crisis is a beautiful thing. But it is not a financial plan. It is not a buy-sell agreement. It is not a key man policy. It is not the structure that allows a business to survive a death or allows a family to survive the loss of the person who built it. The conversations I had with those people, the ones where they assured me things were covered, still stay with me. Begin with the end in mind. Every business starts with an idea. Usually it starts with someone who's good at something, who solves a problem, who loves what they do. The early days are about survival, momentum, and growth. There is always something more urgent than planning for the end. But somewhere, and the sooner the better, you have to ask yourself, what does the end of this road look like? Maybe you sell to a larger competitor. Maybe your employees buy you out. Maybe you pass it to your children. Maybe a partner dies before you're ready to wind things down. Every one of those scenarios has a different set of requirements, and none of them take care of themselves. Plan for the what-ifs. Structure your compensation so you're actually building personal wealth alongside business equity. Protect your partners. Protect your family. Put in place the buy-sell agreement, the key man policy,
and the retirement vehicle that benefits you, not just the business. I learned this the hard way. I built something I was proud of and walked away with far less than I deserved because I had never stopped to design the ending. You don't have to learn it the hard way. Begin with the end in mind.
Thanks for watching this video. Stay tuned to learn how to manage your own business. See you next time.